Hello, everybody. My name is Jerry Blevins. Most of you know me. We've been battling for a while over the water compact, how legal it was, and now they're trying to push forward the new constitution. And they're doing a lot of things that are not necessarily honest. And I want to give you an example. I have here this thing that they come out in the mail. Um, Most of you have gotten it. Looks like a advertisement for a car that you get from Billings. Uh, it looks just like an um, advertisement from a used car. First part up here says, "Is this government working for you? Vote for a change." Over on this side, it says, "Power is in voting." Down here in the corner, it says, "Vote for the future generation." And then over here, it says, "Let positive be the way." This is like saying, is your car running right? You have the power to change that. You need to think about the future of your children. Think positive. Come to so and so auto and we will give you everything. Now, it sounds like a something like that. I mean, and then it shows this headdress, you know, and then each of the feathers have something in it. They're like selling points or talking points. And I just like to go through this because I find it very interesting. And I'll tell you about it a little bit here. It says the first feather up at the top here, right there. It says for more stable government, a more stable government. Uh, you have to kind of think about what is making our government unstable in the first place. Well, the first part of it is that a lot of times they're saying that our constitution isn't working. It doesn't work for us. It's old. It's dilapidated. It's falling apart. Needs new tires. Uh, Whatever. But this stability of a government is to imply that our government is unstable, and nobody's arguing with that. But the government of this, the structure of the government is still there. What the reason this isn't working is because nobody's working it. They say, oh, that's so outdated. We don't need that anymore. We want to do with that anymore. So they refuse to do it. Everybody that has gone against the new constitution and have flippantly said uh, this is not applicable anymore. It's too out of date. Well, first of all, they gave an oath of office to uphold that constitution. So if they arbitrarily refuse to follow it, then isn't that a violation of their of their oath of office? And when you're talking about stability of government, and to make something more stable, don't you have to have like more controls over it? Um, so when they say a more stable government, they're talking about a government that has the stability of longevity, but it also implies the stability of control. And this paper, this constitution they're talking about is all about control. And I'm not going to get into all a bunch of little details, but I just want to just talk about these seven little things and some of the other things in this other pamphlet that they put out. So when they say a more stable government, that's a tagline. Huh? It's basically double speak. Um, they're talking about we need a government that has more control. So what they're saying is that, look, we were the ones that are responsible for controlling your government. The government is out of control. So now we have to form a new government that will give us more control. Does that make sense to you? The very people that can't control the government want a new government that they can't control. It doesn't make sense. So it's kind of a fallacy to say that our government needs more stability when we really mean, or what it really should say is, we need more people in there. We need the right people in there that will control the government, that will do what they're supposed to do, that will follow those things. And that's why our old constitution is not working. Nobody's working it. So as a people, all we have to do is fall back on the corporate charter and the Constitution. But they're doing away with this new Constitution. They do away with our corporate charter. But I'll talk about that anyway. But anyway, this more they need more of a stable government is is not been um, it's not based on the need for a stable government. It's more the need to be based uh, with a more solid representation of the people in government, and they have to abide by the guidelines and the stipulations, the regulations, the Constitution, and the corporate charter and the plan of operation. That's their guiding. That's what's guiding their guiding documents, and they don't use it. And then they say, well, it's the old doc, it's the old one. That's the people that are doing it. You can have a perfectly good running car, but you can put a jerk in there that doesn't know how to drive, and he can drive it right into the ditch. And then you come back out and say, well, you need a new car. That one, something's wrong with it. It drove in the ditch. It's the driver. Huh? It's not the document. It's the driver. Okay, the second one, the second feather, um, this one here. This one says one direction, a new direction. Um, one direction, new direction. Uh, this one's a little hard one because it's kind of like what they call a false dichotomy or a black and white fallacy. They're in saying that we need a new direction and a new constitution, but they're not saying that. What they're saying is this constitution is the new way and the new constitution. So they're saying basically one direction and a new constitution. This is a black and white a black and white fallacy, just for simply because there's more options than just this new constitution. See, when Harry Barnes, I remember the first time that they were up there at the tribal office and they were meeting up there, and Harry Barnes is right there, and I know that that room was full. So I know there was a lot of people that heard this beside me. But he came out and he said, I promise, we will present you with more than just one constitution. We will present you with at least three to choose from. We never got, ever since then, they've been trying to push the Harvard Economic Development Model. There's been no other ones. And then when we ask them, where's the other two? Then they say, well, you have had all this time to develop one. Why haven't you done it? Well, first of all, I'm not making 70,000 a year. I don't have the time to put into that. I don't have the resources like you guys have. Maybe if you guys would have gave us some money to develop one, we could have. Maybe if you would give us enough money to get some of these materials and spend materials like you did, and to psychologically program the people into believing that this is the only way and the true way. Um, maybe that maybe we could build a better and have a better constitution, because this constitution, keep in mind of the tag economic development model. That's what it's all about. It's not about the people. It's not about anything else but economic development. This is a tough one because they're putting us in danger with this. And I don't want to go into all that because I'm just wanted to comment on this thing. So the one direction and the new constitution doesn't necessarily mean that this is our only choice that we have. We don't have, there's other choices out there, but this is the only choice we've been presented with. So they're trying to push it because they're people on Mount Harvard up there, the gods from Mount Harvard. They say this is the best for us. How long have we been living under the white man's rule? And they've been telling us what is the best for us. And every time we do something, we end up losing something. The water compact. We lost more than anybody even realizes. And people don't even understand that. And it's really too bad. People really do need to read and do their own research. But more than that, they need to understand the implications of what these things are doing, the consequences. Everything has consequences. And the consequences of this new constitution is that we lose everything. They say we have our voice. We don't. We lose our voice. We lose the general council. We lose our ability to go up in front of the council and air our grievances. For the past few years, they have taken the general council, that one day a week, month, that is set aside for the people. They have taken that and they decide who gets to talk. They put programs in there, the housing program, a meeting with the housing program, a meeting with personnel, a meeting with Taro, whoever else it is, meetings with all these people that have issues. Okay, that is why you're being paid to do what you do in your own time. Okay, those aren't issues for the people on our time in front of the with the council. Okay, those meetings that you have with employment and personnel and housing and all these things, these are issues that we are paying you to take care of on your own time. Our day, a day of the people, should be only for the people, but you keep putting these things in there, so they take up all the time. So what did a couple people get to talk? It's you're quenching our voice. You're silencing our voice, and don't think we're dumb enough not to see that. So we can see that our voice has been being squashed for a couple of years now since Harry Barnes got in there, and Mr. I don't want to call him Mr. K. Okay, these guys are not following the Constitution as they say they are. They already are in violation of their of their oath of office. So the One Direction new Constitution is a complete fallacy. It's false. It's fake. Okay, and it says the third feather says the people will have rights to vote. Oh, finally, the people will have rights. Vote yes. Okay, that's pro-constitutional. They're not giving us information about the Constitution. This is propaganda. This is what I'll call framing. They're putting you into a frame of mind so that you read this and say, oh, yeah, we're going to have all this. Don't believe that. That's not going to happen. So it says, finally. Okay, finally means that we've never had our rights before. Now let's go back to the council again. We have never been able to put forth our rights in front of the council because they keep filling in the time with other issues. If when we go to see them in their day work shifts, they won't see us. They avoid talking to us. So we don't have any time to and when we do protest that our rights are being stepped on, then we become liars, we become troublemakers, we become backbiters, we become haters, we become all these things, these negative things that they're telling us we are, okay? And then they turn around and accuse us of saying those things to them. It's unbelievable. And yeah, uh, if the shoe fits, sometimes you get mad enough to say things because when your voice is squelched by an outside force and you have the right to speak and they're not letting you speak, that has a tendency to get you very angry. And it's only by the will of God that we're able to keep at peace in ourselves because some of us do get angry. And I get angry because I know that this is oppression. They're oppressing us, they're oppressing our voice. And people need to understand that these under the under the under the under the cover, uh, these things are going on. They're sending people to threaten us. They're sending people underhandedly to say things. They're attacking us on Facebook. They're attacking us in all kinds of media. We got a guy, Lewis, to come up here and because he had a connection with a voice that was nationwide, worldwide. And now our voice is being heard worldwide. So what does the council do? They attack Russell. They attack Lewis. We don't care what Lewis has done outside of murder. Okay, we've all have past, all of us. Okay, every one of us, including you, have done something in their past that they're ashamed of. That hey, this is a reservation. We had to do what we had to do to survive. We fought. We did what we had to do to try to make it alive. And I'm not ashamed of things I've done. And I won't apologize for anything that I've done because I've never really done anything. My reputation exceeds my ability to do half of this stuff. But anyway, our rights, the only rights the rights they give us are the civil rights that we already have through the Indian um, Civil Rights Act, and they say they give us more rights. Oh, come on, the one right that we really need is the one right they won't give us, and that's the right to free speech, and it is in there. It is in that package. But they're not going to give us because as they give us these things, and I'm not going to do it in this video, but in another one, I'm going to prove to you that all of our rights that they're giving us are also being stepped on. And I can prove that. So we're not getting any rights, finally. But it's coming out into the open that they're not giving us, they say we're giving you rights, but they're not giving us anything. They're taking it from us. Because when you have to go through things that you have, let me read here just a few things that where they say we have rights to do. Okay, Article 10, we have the right to removal and recall of our thing. And Article 11, we can do referendums and initiatives. Article 12, we can submit amendments. 13, it's mandatory periodic review. Article 9, adoption of the Constitution. And then up here is Article 15, repeal of the 1935 Constitution and Savings Clause. That article right there destroys us, destroys our Constitution, our present Constitution, our Charter, and everything that goes with it. All the guarantees that those have. Those guarantees are not put in this Constitution, and it's done on purpose. So they're taking everything that we value and they're putting it up there. They're not putting in solid cement like our present Constitution does. No, they're putting it up there because they want to take all these things, apparently, and turn them into corporations. Now, a corporation has to have assets. And you want to get loans, you have to commit those assets to those loans and put them on as collateral. So, puts our assets in danger, doesn't it? Okay. So those rights they give us is through the legislature, through the representation. That's what they're talking about. We have a voice. That's the only voice. Once you vote this Constitution in, the only voice you have after you vote them in is to talk to your representative. That's all you have. So your voice to go before the council, to go before these committees, it's all gone. You don't have a voice. And if your representative don't want to talk to you, he doesn't have to. And there's no guarantee that your issues that you have with your representative, he's going to put forth to anybody. So it's a very shaky ground. And this is why we have to remember a mindset of everybody that's doing this. Why are people getting involved in this in the first place? Your framing in your mind has very much to do with how you think, your biases and all that. And so we're going through our issues we're going through with um, people that have a different mindset than we do. So if what our mindset is not in sync with their mindset, we're not thinking the same way, we have different values, then there's no guarantee that that person is going to even speak up for you, especially if there's other people, his friends and relatives and all that, are telling him different. You see, so there's no real fair representation other than giving us our voice back and giving us our day before the council. The United States of America has, the president comes out every day, not the president, but he has a briefing on what's going on in his work in the world. Senators, all congressmen, they all have to go home and they have to stand before their constituents and explain their voting records. On this, they don't have to. Once they once they build the legislature, they don't. There's nothing to say that they have to come and report to the people, and it doesn't say how many times. But so there's a lot of issues that are really unresolved and important issues. Okay, so according with our rights, they're saying vote yes. They're not telling you why to vote yes. They're basically saying vote yes because we'll have rights, and one of those rights is to vote yes. Honestly, okay, okay. The next fourth feather down is the Constitution for the real people by real people. By real people. Who are the real people? I've talked to people who call themselves real people, and they say that real people are real from the heart, that they're still Indian inside. They can go back 4 to 5 generations in their families. They can tell you all the stories from their great grandfather to their grandfather to their father to them, and likewise their mother, the great grandmother. All these stories, all these things that talk about who we were as a people. That all the songs, all the traditions, all the dances, all these things are encapsulated in a real people. These people that call themselves real people and they snicker, they don't even know how to sing Indian. And I'm one of them, but I don't snicker. I was never taught how to sing Indian, and I wish I would have. I was never taught to dance. I wish I would have. But those are gone by, huh? But that doesn't mean my heart isn't real, that my heart doesn't ache to see them selling our water out. And when your water goes, everybody knows that the land is worthless. It's just one small step at a time. They're taking one little bit here, one little bite here, one little bite over here. Pretty soon become smaller and smaller. So I think that this is also a fallacy, that these people that are saying they're real people are not real people, um, because they're what I call the new breed. And it's not so much being a half breed or a quarter breed or anything of that matter. It's a new breed, which means it's a new way of thinking, because some of them are probably full bloods, some they're half breeds. But the new breed is a breed of man that is moving away from his culture and his traditions, and he's looking forward to a new era of employment and financial prosperity and ownership of land and all this stuff. The white man way of thinking, because white man is all about material possessions, but with Indians, it's about what we connect with. So these guys that call themselves real people, I really have doubts. They're saying we're real people. Okay, then now let's just, for an example, ask the tribal council to give you a list of people that were consistently sitting on the council. I mean, on the committee for this new constitution. Then let's take a look at that, and let's see just how many people on there are real people. I know Virgil Edwards isn't. He's all economic minded. He's all out there wanting to do things and wanting to change the world. He's not thinking about taking care of um, the people. That's all gone. That white man way of thinking is all that matters now. So this isn't. This is also the Constitution for the people by real people. It depends on your definition of real, doesn't it? Because yeah, they can say, yeah, we're real. I'm flesh, I'm blood, I'm here, I exist. That's real. But that's not the same term that real people in Nitsippi use. So it's this also is a fallacy. So the first four are all fallacies, untruths. Now the fifth one says for an independent and fair court system. Now Don Gray wrote a letter in Facebook, and maybe a lot of you have read it, but she was talking about that how can this be an independent court system when the court system is funded by the other branches of government? They're not independent. And how can they be fair if they're not independent? Because if your money, the amount of money that you're going to get budgeted, depends on the goodwill of the executive office, who will approve apparently the budget, and maybe the executive branch. So they're they're connected to these other two branches for their financial well-being, for their security, and for their existence. So this isn't an independent and fair court, because once you pay somebody money, then you can say, you don't do this, we'll hold back that money. You make a policy to cover this, or we'll hold back that money. See, it's very easy to manipulate a system like that when you have money involved. So that's not independent, and it's not fair, and that makes that a fallacy and a lie. Just be honest and straight about that. So it says, we the people will have a voice now. I just talked about that. Your voice, you don't have a voice. You have a right to vote for a representative, and that's it. You can do initiatives and work your butt off to get in and make all these other things. But you have no place to go to talk about your specific issues. You can't go up to the tribal council anymore and say, what are you guys doing? Why are you selling our water? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? And make them answer to the people, not to the representatives. See, this is a sneaky way to get out of this, of being responsible. When they have to come before the people and explain themselves, then that we're making them responsible, because we can talk to them and tell them yes, nay, nay, but they're filling up our time with other crap or other things that doesn't go very well. So our voices, we don't have a voice. It says finally we will have a voice. We have a voice to elect a representative. That's it. That's all. To vote once every 3 years. People, please open your minds and look at what this document is. It's it's actually stupid. And I can't believe that those geniuses from Harvard put this thing together. Oh, and that's another thing. Okay, this is the next the feather in this right here. See, one, two, three, four, five, six. We've proven that every one of those is a fallacy, a fake, and a lie. Okay, here's the seventh one. It says for employment rights, vote yes. For employment rights, vote yes. I can't believe this shit. Ah, who are they talking about? We've already got employment rights. We have Taro. Taro doesn't do a damn thing for us. They've never gotten me a job in my life. As a matter of fact, I went out once and got a job on an oil rig. It took me 2 weeks of showing up every day for 2 weeks. I finally got on. When I got on, Taro came out there and asked me if I was signed up for Taro. I told him no. And they said, well, you can't work here then. I said, why not? They said, because you're not signed up with Taro. I told him, what did you just kind of kiss my ass? I got this job. You weren't out here for 2 weeks every morning trying to get me a job. I was. And I said, how many people do you have signed up with Terrell right now who want work, and you're not even got your butt out there looking for any of it for them? It's all bullshit. So I told him I'm not stopping. And my boss came out there and he said you can't keep him from working. I hired him. If I hired him, he's hired, and you have nothing to say about it. So Donnie White went dusting back down there, or not Donnie White, but his little friend that he had running around with him. And I never did hear from him again. But if they would have, I would have, believe me, I would have done something about it. So employment rights, we already have basically our rights on this reservation to be employed. They're supposed to be looking out for us as we sit, as we stand here. That's what Tarot's all about, making sure that we get a piece of the pie with these contractors that come through. So this is our employment rights depends on the amount of employment. I mean, we've got 200 to 300 people signing up for each one of these jobs that's coming on the reservation. So what rights are you talking about? First come, first serve? Or maybe you're talking about something else. Maybe those employment rights are for white people, huh? Maybe that's what it is. For employment rights. There are white people that live among us. Are they saying we have the right to work too? Well, of course they do. But are you going to put it in our Constitution? If all over the world, all over the United States, is all white territory practically. These guys can go anywhere out there and get a job, and so can an Indian. But our employment on this reservation is very few. We need our people to go to work. We need our people to have these things. And from what I see, this is not aimed at employment rights for the people. This is employment rights, period. And it's left open ended. So later on, the legislature comes in and they will discern, hey, white people have something because there's something here that doesn't work. There's something wrong. And I'll point that out in just a minute. So that's wrong. That's a lie, a fallacy, and it's just a talking point that they're trying to sell you. Like what they're doing is trying to sell you a new car. Uh, the eighth feather says to get politics out of tribal programs. Who are these people? Get politics out of tribal programs. Honestly, since I was working for the tribe, they've come in there, they've taken our money. I worked for the REACH program. I had $75,000 in there to help people with their homes, with their windows, to insulate their doors, insulate their attics, cover their windows, do whatever I could uh, to make their house warm and comfortable for themselves. 75,000. The tribe comes in, takes not only my 75,000, but over oh I can't almost $1 million from low energy, and uh, they weren't going to give it back either. So my boss went up there and told them that if they didn't give it back, that she was going to call it in. And by that evening, the money was back. But this is what I'm talking about. To get politics, you can't get politics out of a program when the programs are run by politicians. It goes up the ladder. You follow policies that come down. They can do anything they want to. You can't get politics out of a program. All they can do is say, get politics out of the program, is they can keep you from saying, okay, we are supporting this guy or we are supporting that guy. But you can't really get internal politics out of these tribal programs because it's right in there with everything. So that's a fallacy and another lie. The last one is for better law enforcement. That's been an issue for a long time. The only thing I really don't know much about that, except that I do know that there's a whole system from one end of the United States to the other. It's I don't know what kind of a coalition or police officers, or they're all uniting together. Uh, it's coming down to like when martial law happens, then they'll be all connected together to make their moves. Well, from what I understand and from what I hear, they're telling us that we can, if you get picked up for a DUI, say in Michigan, or domestic abuse, or theft, or anything, and then you come home to Browning and you get picked up for the same offense. It's not a first time offense here then, because they have can get into this network and they can pull everything off from what you did in other countries or other states. And they can use that against you as your second or third offense. That kind of takes us away from being of our home, huh? I mean, honestly, they're just taking us into the white community and to be white people, and they it makes me feel like they're lapdogs. They're saying, look at me, I'm white. I can we can do these things too." They've lost their identity. So for better law enforcement, I'm all for that, but I'm not for white people coming on this reservation with guns, backpacks, military vehicles, those kinds of things. And our council will just let them do it. Who are they really working for, and who are they really looking out for? They're not looking out for us. When you can let the National Guard, Earl threatened us with that several times, calling in the National Guard just because we wanted to voice our opinions. We weren't getting violent. It was all them. That Kipling guy was shaking this mace in front of a woman who was sitting in a chair. Nobody said anything about that intimidation. See, it's always our fault, never theirs. But they want to use intimidation. They take out all these great big handcuffs and pack them around. Okay, we got enough for everybody. I would like to see them put everybody there in handcuffs. But anyway, they're going to be able to call in anybody they want, any other task force, any other law enforcement agency. So for better law enforcement, boy, I don't know about that. So they're united with other law enforcement agencies around. Um, there is one other thing on here I would like to mention, or a couple of other things. Right here, this one right here. Let positive be the new way. That's a put down. Huh? They're putting you down. They're saying that if you don't vote for it, you're a negative person. That only being positive and voting for this new way. This is like another black and white fallacy, a false dichotomy. They're saying that this is voting yes is you're voting for a new way, but by voting you're positive, okay. But voting no, you're negative. You're voting for the old way. It's a yes or no, black and white. See, this is a false dichotomy. It's not real because I'm going to vote no on the Constitution, but it's not negative. Huh? It's positive. I'm being positive by voting no. And you can't tell me I'm being negative by voting no. You're being negative by voting yes. Okay? I'm not voting for it because I think it's bad for the people. It's good for the new breed. It's good for the higher. It creates a whole echelon of a hierarchy, and it puts us in an oligarchy situation where we are become the servants, the peasants. So voting no does not mean you're negative, because I'm asking you to vote no because on a positive note, and that positive thing is that this is not good for the people. It's only good for the hierarchy. It's only good for Harry Barnes and Mike McKay and those people that already have filled their pockets or are going to have their pockets filled when they pull this thing off. How many of them really got bank accounts built up over this water compact? We're not stupid. We know there's offshore accounts. We know people have been using them for a long time. Other councils. So, this isn't a secret. We know that you can sell out and get the water compact passed. And then when you pull your end of the bargain, then they fill your coffers with whatever they promised. Nobody knows the wiser. So this is completely baloney. But if you really look at this compact, I mean this constitution, it's white man all the way. They're taking us from you. And what I want to tell you is this is called framing. They're framing, they sent you a little bit of positive thinking. All these things are supposed to be positive. I've shown you where every one of these things is a fallacy. Every one of these things is wrong. Every one of these things is lying. It depends on your interpretation of the word. And that's how you have to look at the new Constitution. You have to look at the words, the inferences on it. Okay, right here, look right here. It says, this is another little buy my car kind of thing, This says enrollment, Article 2, excuse me. Membership, also known as enrollment, no change from current constitution, exactly the same word for word. Okay, this is where they think they're getting us by, all of us. Oh, let me go on. Okay, Bill of Rights, expanded rights of the people from four. We only had four rights. That's all we had. The Indian civil rights didn't seem to matter, huh? And they're giving us, let's see, expands rights of people from only four and current constitution to 21, granting you the people an additional 17 rights. Oh, hey, I'm going to talk about those rights, not in this video, but I'm going to talk about those rights, and I'm going to prove to you and show you that those rights are later on in the Constitution. They're limited rights. They're only limited by what well, I'll get into that later, but this is a lie. What I wanted to really talk about was this enrollment thing up here, where it says there's no change in the current address. Okay, now membership, also known as enrollment. Okay, I've gone through the rest of it. I can't find anywhere else in this, but on the rights of the people, it has the citizens of the Blackfeet Nation shall have the authority. Okay, a referendum can be called by the legislature or the citizens. The Constitution, okay, this is Article 10. The citizens of the Blackfeet Nation shall have the authority to recall. Article 11, referendum and initiative called a referendum can be called by the legislature or the citizens. Article 12, the Constitution may be amended by the majority vote of the citizens. There shall be a mandatory review of the Constitution every 5 years. Ugh. For Article 9, okay, per present Constitution, the Secretary of Interior, this Constitution shall be adopted when voted on by the majority of citizens. Okay, citizens, not members. So they're throwing the citizens and membership. Oh, they're kind of mixing them and say, well, if you're for the Blackfeet Nation, then you're a citizen. There's a real huge difference between a citizen and a member. Remember that. As members, we have enrollment criteria. As members, we have rights. As members, we have all these things. But as citizens, we have the rights of a citizen. So there's really a big difference. So they're playing with this word citizen and membership. So let me go back here for a moment and talk about enrollment. Then it says membership. Membership, also known as enrollment, no changes. Of course, there's going to be no changes. And I'll tell you why. Because they're going to keep the enrollment. Okay, all the members will be packaged in a pretty little package called enrollment, and it'll be placed over here. Okay, now, now comes the citizens. The citizens, any citizen, if you're a citizen of the United States, you can be black, white, Latino, uh, Asian, German, it doesn't matter. You can be of any nationality. And as long as you fulfill the requirements of citizenship, then you become a citizen. Now, remember also that when the legislature gets in there, that they have the power to change. They have the power to make laws, and they don't necessarily need our approval on it. They can do this without it. So they can say, okay, we're going to build a nation here, so we're going to have to include other people, white people, black people, whoever. But what does that mean? That means that as citizens, they fall under this Constitution. Only the membership is enrolled, but the citizens take over then as the more predominant group. They don't say as a membership can be citizens, but citizens can't be members. So we need to distinguish between those two phrases when we're reading this, because that word citizen, this is the, I can't think of the word, it's subterfuge. This is subterfuge. This is a ruse. This is a ploy to get us away from our tribal identity, away from our identity as individuals, our identity as people, to get us away from the culture, the traditions, even though it proclaims that we can keep it, but it's moving the mass over this way into the white culture so that we can compete, so that they can take, once these legislatures take over and they build all these committees can be then taken over by and turned into corporations. Now, a corporation has to have members, but they can, like they take our land committee, they can take all the land we bought that's not under for, reserved land rights. We have a lot of land that's not under that. So we can take these rights, this land, and they can put them up for millions of dollars to on a loan. Okay, now when they get these millions of dollars, if you know anything about reality, you will know that a lot of that money is going to be siphoned right off the top. For they'll do it legally, huh? They'll send somebody to a business camp, send him over there, send him over here, and just shoving money in their pockets through different means. But the point of being is that if they can't make the payments on those loans, then they will forfeit. Now, let's suppose they do that with our land, with our resource, with our oil and gas, with our water, with everything else that's out there. See, in order to build these infrastructure for this water, we're going to have loans. The United States is not going to let us do that. And all the money that's coming down through the water compact in the federal is not coming to us. We have to send in documents. We have to send in the blueprints. We have to send in the feasibility studies. We have to do all this work. I told the people this a long time ago that this is the way it was going to work out. It takes 7 years just to get an application approved. And already I've heard that they've cut the money from almost 500 million to just over 200 million already. See, once you sign the compact, then they're free to do whatever they want, whatever they want. People, you don't know what you give away when you give away that water. You give away our rights, our claims. I mean, honestly, people, the United States, we should own Great Falls. We should own Helena. We should own all the way over to the border. But they took them away through executive orders. But I'm told those executive orders did not include minerals. So if that's true, that means that the state of Montana is taking billions of dollars from us. And we have that claim. We have a rightful claim to that. But now this water compact settles all claims. All the forest patent fees, all the land they stole from us is settled. They gave it away. Who are these people working for? They're not working for us. They need to be kicked out of there. They need to be brought up on charges. As far as I'm concerned, Joe McKay should be held in contempt, and not in contempt, but held for treason. And Harry Barnes, he's a quiet one. He stays in the back. He laughs behind our back. He likes to rub elbows with these other little white people, his other what I call Masonites, because that's who put him in office. He's a Mason. There's another person on the council who is whose uncle is also a Mason. These Masons are all over town, people. Right down there by the bowling alley where it comes around. That big building there, when I was a boy, that had a big, huge Masonic sign on it. And there were Masons all over, Indian Masons. So they are running this reservation. Just ask yourself a question. Why would anybody come to a reservation, a white person, come to a reservation and set up a shop? Look at all these white people that own all these shops. All these people that have come here are come here as Masons. Why? There's even Catholic priests that are Masons. Jesuits are Masons. They're like a disease, and they're no good. They have nefarious intentions. And I don't want to speak out against these people because they are powerful people. They can have me killed. They've tried it already. I'm not going to get into that, but they didn't exceed because God wouldn't let them. Because he thinks I have something to say, and I am saying it. So I'm telling you, people, there's a lot more in here. I don't want to take up all your time, but I just wanted to comment on just this little thing and tell you that framing is a big thing. They're framing your mind. They start with a little car advertisement, give you all these little positive things. Say, yeah, yeah. They tell you to think positive. They tell you to exercise your power. They say this Constitution isn't working. This is the reason. This is towards Blackfeet. This isn't a Blackfeet headdress. I told you how much they know. Okay, I hope I've made some kind of sense to you. Um, I do stand with the Red Blanket Society. I stand with our little group outside of town. We're just small, but we're standing up for our people. We're not standing up to be noticed. We're not standing up to be called anything, although we are called quite a bit from the people that says we are the ones doing it. This is what's a big lie, is that they are the ones, the proponents of this underhanded, because there's a lot of things written in there, just like the word citizen and membership. Membership is very used just once or twice. The word citizen is throughout. So they're not talking to us about citizen. We're the members. When they say citizens, they're not talking to us. Remember that. Now, I want to say some more about the authority. I had a guy come on and say, "Yeah, Jerry Blevin's got a aluminum hat on, and he's got feathers, and he thinks the world's coming to an end." And well, quite frankly, I do think the world's coming to an end. Jesus Christ said it, wouldn't he give us all the signs? And all the signs have been fulfilled. So you're not arguing with me, you're arguing with the Bible. You're arguing with God. So, I mean, you have your argument with God. You talk to him about that. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. And it says that all the signs that were going to come about have come about. So, and you can see the New World Order taking shape. You can see the chemtrails, the chem clouds. These are things open to the eyes, to the mind. Open your mind. Look at the skies. This isn't real weather. This is a result of chemtrails. These are all chem clouds. They're dumping this trash into the mountain snow. It melts into the water. It's getting into our plants. It's getting into all of our food. They're killing us. But no, hey, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, I want to say just this about a conspiracy theory is that when it's been proven, it's not a conspiracy. And everything I've talked to you about, Agenda 21, the New World Order, all of these things have been proven. The FEMA camps have been proven. Martial law has been proven. All these things that are set in place to take over are proven. This is no longer a conspiracy theory. Agenda 21 talks about how all native, how all indigenous people have to be. Okay, this I should have had it here, but this Constitution fits right in with that Agenda 21 scenario for Indian tribes. Is they want to control everything, just like they control our land and our water. They want to control our intellectual property rights. They want to control our songs. They want to control our dances. They want to control our herbs. They want to control our medicines. All these things we have to list. Then we send it in to them and they keep it for us. What a pile of shit. I'm telling you, people, I hope you feel dizzy. Are you? Do you feel dizzy? Because we're circling the drain and we're about to be flushed. Mike McKay, Harry Barnes, and I'm talking to all the people. They are not good. For the new breed, they're good for you. But for the real people, this is dangerous. This is a takeover. This is treason. And we'll go on further. There's more to come. But I got to close here, and I want to thank you for listening to me. I got to shut this off and probably edit it. But I just need to say that some people, you got to do something. I put letters to the editor. They keep me at 500. What can you say with 500 words? Can't say nothing. But Tom McKay, Mike McKay, Harry Barnes, the tribe, they can cover a full page. They have the money to do that. See, that's what's so unfair about this, is that we have a right to voice our opinion and to show our side of the story and to show the documents. But they won't give us any money so we can send out papers like this because we can. We can develop papers like this. We're not just talking out of our hats. We're talking from facts, from documents, from things that they thought we never had. They're trying to cover up a lot of things that Earl did to this place, and don't let them for 1 minute say that our Constitution is not working when they're the ones that are paid to work it. If it's not working, then there's something called an amendment. It's been amended several times. Puggy Edwards says this is a living document. This new Constitution is a living document. Well, guess what? So is our Constitution. And that being that it's a living, we can amend it. You want a separation of powers, then amend it. You want to do these things, then amend it. But see, keep the general counsel. Give us our voice. Keep our voice so that we can go before the council and say what's on our mind. That's the way the Indians always worked. That's the way our tribe has always worked. They let each one of us talk, and then they make up their mind. Now, they don't let us talk anymore. They're going to let somebody's relative that you don't like, but actually got on as a representative. And maybe that representative don't like you. So what are you doing? You can't do nothing. Protest, they can kick you off the reservation. That's what it says. If your presence makes them feel injurious, like your presence is injurious, like it's going to injure them, just your presence, they can kick you off the reservation. If the things you say they see as injurious, they can kick you off the reservation, while at the same time finding ways for white people to stay. It says that in the same paragraph, meaning they're saying they can kick you, have the right to kick you off, and they have the right to keep white men here. There's a whole switch around how white people are coming up here and the Indians are coming down here in our own Constitution. Oh man, I'm getting worked up. So thank you for listening to me. I hope you'll consider the things I said. I just wanted to comment on this because it was so laughable. If it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. It's ludicrous. Thank you for listening, and I'll be coming up with some more stuff about some specifics about that Constitution. God bless you. Goodbye.